Yeah, and do you have interest in seeing him fight Mike Tyson?
No,
Why not?
I don't. I think Mike Tyson is, an icon in boxing, and he's done a lot for boxing in his own right. And I just think Mike is past his prime. Mike is old. I wouldn't want to see Mike go in the ring and get hurt on um, a fight where he's just doing it just for the money or entertainment. I just think,
Despite the official sanction for the upcoming bout, Terence Crawford has voiced his belief that Jake Paul will prevail over Mike Tyson if all goes as planned. The match rules are set to be more flexible than usual, differing from a typical match between two-time welterweight world champions. Paul Porter speculates that Tyson, rather than Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., could be Paul's opponent. Chavez, who secured a win on the same card as Paul and Perry, has the WBA's backing to challenge Paul for a title. However, Sean Porter expressed doubt about this fight happening, saying, "I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Mike Tyson and Jake won't be competing in the ring." Porter argues that a fight with Tyson isn't practical. He witnessed Chavez Jr.'s recent performance and suggested that a return to trainer Freddie Roach could potentially work wonders for him. Porter further added that a fight between Mike and Jake doesn't make sense, even financially. Despite his reservations, Porter acknowledged that he doesn't have the final say on the matter. Following Jake Paul's latest win against Mike Perry, UFC champion Shah Ali believes Paul could defeat Tyson. In their recent match, Paul had already knocked down the former UFC fighter and world bare knuckle champion 3 times before the referee intervened. Paul, now setting his sights on a potential showdown with the 58-year-old Tyson, is expected to be the clear favorite with a 30-year age advantage. The anticipated 8-round match, with 2-minute rounds, could be scheduled for later this year. Ali predicts a win for Paul within the allotted rounds. Reflecting on Paul's recent victory over Perry, Ali highlighted the brutality and precision of several knockdowns and spoke about how Paul has improved with each fight. He expressed enthusiasm for the upcoming clash between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, forecasting a similar result. The excitement surrounding this unique matchup showcases the growing appeal of crossover bouts and promises a spectacle for fans of both boxing and entertainment.
Knockdowns were pretty brutal. God damn it, that was sweet. Jake looks like he's improving every single fight. I'm excited to continue to watch him fight. Mike Tyson fight, I'm pretty excited for. I feel like it might look similar to that. I mean, Mike Tyson's almost 60. Jake's, 30 years younger. So I feel like it might look similar to that. But I'll do Jake Paul versus Mike Perry MMA. Jake Paul, Mike Perry, bare knuckle. Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. Like, Jake is doing.
After defeating Mike Perry, Jake Paul surprised everyone by boldly challenging UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. Pereira, also the middleweight champion, recently secured an 8-year contract extension with Dana White, indicating he's likely to stay in the UFC. Despite this, Paul remains optimistic about facing the formidable champion. Alongside announcing Jake's upcoming November fight with Mike Tyson, Ali hinted that a match with Pereira could only happen with Dana White's approval. Ali also voiced frustration over Paul's recent wins against UFC fighters, suggesting that such bouts don't fully satisfy him.
What's next for Jake Paul? Jake Paul obviously, I think he already has a fight booked. He's fighting Mike Tyson in what, November, December? He called out Alex Pereira. That fight won't happen unless Dana says, "I'm sick of seeing Jake beat all these UFC guys. I'm giving it." Imagine Alex Pereira versus Jake Paul. I mean, dude, Alex has crazy power in both hands, but the dude he literally throws from his hips. Like, he's there to be hit. That was a big thing about Mike Perry. He was there to be hit. His chin was floating. He was throwing punches. He was off balance. His chin was just kind of there to be hit. Alex Pereira's dude. I met that dude. Scary big. His hand was like 4 of my hands.
Ali noted that while fans are eager to see Jake face top fighters, his true potential won't be realized until he competes against someone ranked in the top 30. He also praised Jake for his impressive strategic insight, emphasizing the importance of post-fight preparation and Jake's relentless pursuit of new, challenging opponents.
After a fight, the biggest thing is what's next. You got to set yourself up for those opportunities, and Jake's doing that better than anyone right now. He's calling out who's next. He already has a fight booked, and he's doing a really good job of doing that. Jake's definitely a very good boxer, but until you see him with, he hasn't fought a top, let's say, 20 guy in the world, like a top 20 boxer in his weight class. Jake wants to be the champ. Well, cruiserweight. I don't even know what weight class that is. And people want to see you against the actual best guys in the world, or at least up there. So it's hard. Jake's boxing skill, he definitely has boxing skills. He's definitely dedicated. He's definitely very high level. But how good is he? You can't really determine that until you see him against the guy in the top. Even top third.
Boxing analyst and former world champion Timothy Bradley is confident that Mike Tyson will prevail in the upcoming bout with Jake Paul. Bradley believes Tyson's immense power and years of experience give him a significant advantage, forecasting a potential knockout. He stated, "In a fight like this, Tyson is likely to have the upper hand," adding that Tyson's power, especially in 2-minute rounds, makes a knockout possible, even with a well-placed body shot. Paulie Malignaggi, however, expressed concern over the considerable age gap between the two fighters. Tyson, 58, hasn't competed in a professional match since his 2005 TKO loss to Kevin McBride. While Malignaggi believes Tyson could still pose a challenge, he also noted that Jake Paul is frequently underestimated and has developed into a more formidable boxer than many realize. Roy Jones Jr. and Tyson last fought in an exhibition in July 2020, and in March, Tyson shared his excitement about potentially facing Paul, calling it a unique experience. Tyson remarked, "I'm very much looking forward to stepping into the ring with Jake Paul at A&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. He's grown significantly as a boxer, and it will be a thrill to see what a young fighter's ambition can bring against the experience of a legend." If Tyson can't compete in November, a rising star in mixed martial arts is reportedly prepared to take his place to challenge the problem child and settle the score. Paul has gained significant attention for his impressive 6th-round knockout of Mike Perry and for issuing bold challenges to both Tyson and UFC champion Alex Pereira. Paul clarified, "Mike Perry is under contract, and Tyson is not fit. I'm the same size and weight whether we fight or not. I got ducked before, and now I'm here, waiting for the call." Shortly after this, Paul appeared on Submission Radio, commenting on the possibility of a bout against Perry himself. Although he hadn't watched the fight in full, Paul felt that what he'd seen suggested low-level striking, claiming he was stunned by both fighters' performance and stating that Paul was gassed after the first round. Paul entered the boxing world in full force this month, featuring prominently in Social Knockout 3 in the UAE. However, his victory was marred by controversy after his opponent forfeited mid-fight. When asked if he had received any updates from Paul's team regarding the November event, Perry expressed frustration. He claimed that despite being an ideal replacement if Tyson were unavailable, he's received no responses from Paul's team, saying, "At 6'0" and 225 pounds, I can box like a pro, but Jake won't take me on. I haven't heard anything at all. I have a lot of respect for Jake as a businessman and for dedicating his life to boxing, but in the ring, I would seriously hurt him." Perry's confidence is rooted in his technical skill and background in mixed martial arts. He argued that his knowledge of striking, demonstrated against some of MMA's best like Anderson Silva and Robert Whittaker, would be a decisive factor. Perry explained that, for him, it's not just about the shots we throw, but the technical superiority that can translate from the cage to the boxing ring. Darren Till expressed his frustration with Jake Paul, saying that despite his eagerness for a fight, Paul has continuously ignored his challenges. Till outlined his strategy for a potential bout, explaining, "I'd lead him into situations he wouldn't see coming. It would take me about 3 rounds to figure him out, then I'd tear him to pieces." He lamented that Paul's avoidance felt like a betrayal, especially given that Till has studied Paul's past rivals and is ready for a challenge. Paul, meanwhile, has a list of potential high-profile opponents, including former rivals like Nate Diaz, Tommy Fury, KSI, and Mike Perry. The former UFC flyweight champion has voiced concerns over the upcoming Tyson fight, questioning if the 58-year-old's health might put him at risk given the 31-year age gap between him and Paul. In a similar vein, MMA legend Demetrius Johnson advised Tyson against taking on a younger fighter like Paul, noting that Tyson, who made history as the youngest boxer to win a heavyweight championship and was the first to hold WBC, WBA, and IBF titles simultaneously, might be at a disadvantage given his age. In a video posted on his YouTube channel, Paul, who now holds a 10-fight record with a 4-fight winning streak, displayed his improvements in the ring, especially after his 6th-round knockout of Perry. Johnson assessed Paul's chances, suggesting that Tyson's aggressive fighting style could actually work in Paul's favor. "I think Jake Paul has a chin that can withstand any punch Tyson throws," Johnson said, adding that Tyson's endurance might falter as the fight progresses, potentially allowing Paul to turn the tables and secure a knockout. He explained that Tyson's tendency to lunge in with heavy swings could leave him open to Paul's counterpunches. Paul, undeterred by the critics, is determined to take on Tyson. He commented on the fight's potential, saying, "Mike Tyson is training and looking better than ever. I'm going to prove everyone wrong once again." Confident in his preparations, Paul is set for their November 15th bout, acknowledging that facing Tyson, one of boxing's 2 most iconic fighters alongside Muhammad Ali, is a significant risk. But for Paul, it's precisely the thrill of risk that fuels him in the sport. Not everyone shares Paul's excitement. Nico Ali Walsh, Muhammad Ali's grandson, expressed disapproval of the fight, stating that a man of Tyson's age shouldn't be in the ring, especially not against a younger, stronger rival. He went on to criticize Paul's motivations, claiming, "Paul is only interested in going viral. He's not in this for the honor, he's in it for the headlines." For Walsh, who declined a high-profile offer to fight Paul, boxing is about legacy, not publicity. "I'm fighting for my bloodline, and he's fighting for headlines. That's the difference between us." On his YouTube channel, UFC Hall of Famer Michael Bisping offered his perspective on the potential fight. He commented that while the fighting community has backed Perry in his efforts, he doesn't believe Perry is adequately prepared for Paul. Bisping noted that Perry's smaller stature would be a disadvantage against Paul, emphasizing the importance of weight classes in both combat sports and boxing. According to Bisping, this size disparity is evident when observing the 2 fighters in the ring, further supporting his belief that Paul could have the upper hand if they face off. The opinions on this upcoming bout showcase the mixed reactions within the combat sports world. While some commend Paul's ambition and skill development, others, like Walsh and Johnson, question the risks and the motivations behind such matchups. Regardless, the hype surrounding the event is building, with audiences eagerly anticipating what may be one of the most talked about fights in recent boxing history.
I think the whole fight community, everyone was behind Mike Perry. But the reality was, he was too small. There is weight classes in boxing, in combat sports, for a reason. And it was only until the fight started that I saw them both with their shirts off and just the gloves and the shoes on and the shorts, that I realized just the discrepancy in the size, right? Jake Paul was about twice the size of him. The weight difference is going to be insane.
Bisping criticized the upcoming fight, calling it a farce and questioning why it was happening at all. He mocked Jake Paul for repeatedly challenging MMA fighters, labeling his antics as ridiculous. Bisping also mentioned Paul's past disparaging remarks about Conor McGregor and UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. Emphasizing the importance of weight classes in combat sports, Bisping expressed frustration with Paul's tendency to pick smaller opponents, arguing that Paul's approach undermines the integrity of competitive fighting.
Well done to Jake Paul. He went out there and he beat another man with an 0-1 boxing record. Yes, 5-0 in bare knuckle and a decent record in mixed martial arts. But he was the smaller guy, he's the older guy, and he's not a boxer, okay? Mike Perry made some flaws. I'm not here to rip on Mike Perry, and I gotta say, right, well done. Well done to Jake Paul, if that's what you want to see. That was a farce. That was ridiculous. That fight should have never even taken place in the first place because it was a shit show. Jake Paul was by far the bigger guy, and as I said, there's weight classes for a reason. Now, okay, Jake Paul grinds my gears. Let's be honest, he does, because of all the shit talk, or how great he thinks that he is, okay? But then he cherry picks these opponents that are way smaller and less experienced. I've said that point a million times, so I'm not going to repeat myself.
Dustin Poirier has decided not to support Mike Tyson's potential return to the ring, advocating that Tyson should stay far from a fight with Jake Paul. Poirier expressed his disapproval of the Tyson-Paul matchup on the MMA Hour highlighting Tyson's advanced age and voicing concerns about his safety against a younger, more athletic opponent like Paul, who has the resources to assemble a top-tier training camp. Poirier added that he wishes the fight wouldn't happen at all, questioning why it hasn't already been called off. He mentioned that he was present for Paul's 2020 fight against Tyron Woodley, showing that his concerns come from a place of respect rather than animosity toward Paul.
Fight. I didn't want that to happen. The guy's 60 years old. I didn't want that to happen. And I hope it doesn't.
You're hoping he gets canceled.
Yeah, I don't want to see Tyson go out there and get hurt, man.
Right.
60 years old. He's fighting a young guy who's athletic and has the money to put the best people around him and build a camp, and he's dangerous.
Right. So you like Jake?
I don't have anything against him.
Yeah. But watching him fight.
Yeah, dude.
You went to one of his fights, right?
I went to the Woodley too.
Jake Paul has made a remarkable shift from social media influencer and YouTube sensation to professional boxer. He quickly built a reputation by choosing opponents with big names but limited boxing experience. After a stunning knockout of NBA champion and slam dunk star Nate Robinson, Paul went on to defeat former UFC champions Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva, as well as retired MMA fighter Ben Askren. Paul has since secured his last 4 wins, most recently with a knockout of BKFC sensation Mike Perry. Meanwhile, Perry has kept a close eye on the bare-knuckle combat scene in both boxing and MMA. Open to stepping into the ring without gloves if the offer is right, Perry noted that he believes bare-knuckle MMA is a more authentic form of fighting, where grappling and chokes would be more straightforward. However, he emphasized that fighting under such conditions would require substantial compensation due to the high level of risk involved.
Way of fighting, I think chokes will be easier. Grappling is easier with no gloves.
Oh, bare knuckle MMA.
Yeah.
What about the bare knuckle boxing?
I'd have to get paid.
Yeah.
I'd have to get paid.
It's
just like you're gonna get cut up 100%, no
Right.
matter how you fight defensively. You're gonna get cut probably.
Do you like watching it?
Yeah, but I've been to a few in person, and watching it and being there close to the ring is 2 different things, man. It's brutal close.
Really?
Yeah.
More so than TV.
Yeah, because you can hear the knuckles bouncing off the skull. You can hear it.
Jeez.
It's nasty, man. I was there for the low.
Mike Tyson is finally clearing up the rumors surrounding his highly anticipated showdown with Jake Paul. Despite having retired years ago, Tyson remains one of the most celebrated figures in boxing, while Paul stays in peak condition, continually seeking high-profile matchups. Tyson and Paul, who come from different generations, are preparing for a historic bout that's captured fans' attention. Tyson recently explained his motivation for taking on a much younger challenger, stating that he's confident Paul won't be able to cause him serious harm. Tyson reflected on how his career has always been driven by the pursuit of glory, declaring that any suffering he endures in the ring is a small price to pay for the honor it brings. He expressed a preference for a life of brief triumph over one of obscurity, saying he'd rather live short and gloriously than long without significance. Tyson has generally kept a low profile since retiring in 2006, but when the chance to fight Paul arose, he accepted without hesitation. In a recent interview, Tyson appeared both confident and back in training. "To be honest, I don't think he can hurt me," Tyson stated as he prepared for his first boxing match in over 20 years. Aware of the risks to his reputation, health, and legacy, he said this fight is his way of responding to critics who questioned his decision to face a social media star. Addressing the skeptics, he explained, "I'm a glory junkie. I love it when people think of me all the time. I'd rather live a short life of glory than a long life of obscurity. That's just who I am." Tyson's fans are equally thrilled to see him return to the ring at age 58, with Tyson adding, "If that's not godlike, I don't know what is." The fight was originally scheduled for July 20, but health concerns led to a postponement. Tyson reassured fans he'll be back in training soon and that the result will remain unchanged despite the rescheduling, asserting that Jake Paul needs to lose as he prepares for their bout. In a statement from MVP, Tyson mentioned he'd spoken with Paul, saying, "He's doing good, he's back in training," and revealed that Paul was initially concerned about him taking on the fight. Meanwhile, Jake Paul has been staying active, facing fighters like Mike Perry. Tyson was reportedly surprised by Paul's decision to take on Perry, known for his fierce style, risking injury that could jeopardize the main event. Paul, however, dismissed Tyson's concerns, admitting he has his own fears but is determined to come out on top. Confidently, he said, "As I get ready for my bout against Iron Mike, don't worry, I'm going to put this man to sleep." Jake Paul recently expressed that there's no one he'd rather face than Mike Perry, who is a formidable knockout artist known for his unpredictable style inside and outside the ring. Paul believes this is the perfect chance to gain experience before ultimately facing Mike Tyson, though he admits the risk is high. "People who know me understand I take risks," Paul said. "Even though Platinum Perry might try to break me, I'm titanium. I fear no man. I'm going to win and show everyone what I've got in the ring against Mike Tyson." Meanwhile, Eric Esch, also known as Butterbean, has announced he's ready to step in to fight Tyson in Paul's place if needed. Known for his striking power, Butterbean shared his thoughts on a potential matchup with Tyson, telling Chris Van Vliet, "Yes, if I connect, they're gone. Tyson has been knocked out multiple times, but I've never been knocked out. I'm not trash talking. I respect Mike Tyson, but he's not a big guy. He's actually short. He's powerful, which is why I think he and I would make a fantastic fight. It would be incredible to watch us meet in the middle of the ring and just trade punches." Butterbean, who boasts 57 knockouts in his career, never had the chance to face Tyson in his prime. He revealed that in 2020, the year Tyson faced Roy Jones Jr. in an exhibition match, he was offered an opportunity to fight but turned it down due to not being in peak physical or mental shape. Since then, Butterbean has undergone a significant transformation, embarking on a weight loss journey with the guidance of former wrestling star and yoga instructor Diamond Dallas Page. Under Page's training, Butterbean successfully slimmed down to 212 lbs and now feels ready to step back into the ring. "I'm not your typical boxer. I go out there to fight. I want to knock somebody out," Butterbean explained, adding that he's open to facing either Mike Tyson or Jake Paul. While Butterbean and Tyson share a friendship, he insists he has no issues battling friends. In the meantime, Jake Paul talks too much and hasn't really fought anyone, Butterbean said. "I'd love to fight him. I think fans would enjoy watching me and Tyson go at it." During an appearance on Asterisk, the MMA Hour Asterisk, Floyd Mayweather also threw his hat into the ring, declaring he'd be ready to take on Jake Paul and end his boxing aspirations if Tyson didn't. Mayweather's statement adds yet another layer to Paul's saga, which has involved challenges from some of the most iconic names in boxing. When asked about the matchup, Terence Crawford, one of the sport's top fighters, shared his own perspective. While he agreed Tyson is a legend who has greatly contributed to boxing, Crawford felt Tyson's time in the ring had passed. "Tyson is an icon, but he's beyond his prime and too old for this," Crawford said, voicing concerns over Tyson potentially sustaining injuries. His objections reinforced the views of many who feel Tyson's legacy is best honored by stepping away from high-stakes fights with younger challengers.
Him having his problems, his health problems, is another added reason why I don't want to see him in the ring anymore.
Jake Saferd expressed optimism about Jake Paul's progress, noting that while he still needs to improve his endurance, he has earned considerable respect in the boxing community. Saferd emphasized that Paul is not just a YouTuber boxing for fun, he trains seriously with the aim of improving. Crawford acknowledged Paul's dedication, stating that his significant progress in the sport deserves recognition, especially considering how many had initially written him off.
Getting better, he may need to work on his stamina a little bit, but for the most part, I've gained a lot of respect for Jake because he's not a YouTuber that's just boxing just to box. He actually trains and actually want to get better and actually have got better and really putting his time, focus, and energy into boxing. So you got to respect it.
He recognized Paul's strength and awareness, noting that Paul is advancing in the ranks like a regular fighter instead of immediately chasing title fights. Crawford emphasized that Paul is still learning and approaches each fight with the mindset of progressing rather than losing. He expressed indifference toward the prospect of seeing Paul face Mike Tyson in the ring.
Right, Jake off, but Jake can punch with that right hand. He got a nice right hand. He's building himself up just like a regular boxer. People got to understand that people look at Jake and say, well, Jake needs to fight me. Jake needs to fight me. Jake needs to fight me. Everybody's
Yeah.
grabbing for the attention to fight Jake at this moment. But it's just like a professional boxer coming up in the rankings. They're not going straight to the champion. You know, they're going to work their way up and fight the best fights that they can learn from. Not get beat, learn from. So right now, Jake is still in the learning process.
Citing health and age concerns, Crawford suggested that the 10-time champion boxer should focus on gaining more experience. Following his victory over Mike Perry, Jake Paul expressed his intention to silence critics by challenging Alex Pereira. Despite holding an impressive 6-0 record against former UFC fighters, Paul has faced criticism for fighting smaller opponents who are past their prime and have grappling backgrounds. Addressing doubts about his ability to be a serious threat, Paul took to social media to imply that Dana White might not support a fight between them. He remarked that while it's unlikely White would agree to the match, it's probably not due to fear of the outcome. Paul found it amusing to hear experts claim that Pereira would easily defeat him in a boxing match. He pointed out that White is no stranger to letting cross-promotional bouts happen, having allowed Conor McGregor to fight Floyd Mayweather in 2017. However, the UFC CEO has consistently expressed his disapproval of crossover boxing matches. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of our other content on the screen.